gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse as it goes on. You know, earlier this week, there were rumors about Vic Fangio potentially making this his last season, where he probably will retire, and the Eagles brass decided to convince him to do one more year, leaving probably the defensive coordinator job to Clint Hurt, but that's another story for another day. But potentially Vic Fangio could have retired this offseason. Now we come to find out that Jeff Stoutland will no longer be coaching for the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a very, very sad day to be an Eagles fan at the moment. This is a gut punch. I'm at a loss for words. Normally, I'd be angry and screaming. I'm at a loss for words as to what exactly I'm supposed to take away from this news. There's a Instagram post that kind of gives you a little bit of background. So for my radio audience, I will read it. The video audience gets to see it. This post is from, not necessarily from Tim McManus, but he reported on this. I will pull it up. Reports were that Nick Sirianni, or Jeff Stoutland rather, grew frustrated with his voice not being heard in the coaching staff room. Nick Sirianni and offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo began incorporating different run designs in an effort to kickstart the operation. Stoutland was not consulted about the changes, which is ironic because he was the run game coordinator, to what he felt was an appropriate degree, a league source said, to the point where he no longer desired the title of run game coordinator because he felt it no longer fit his job description, and that experience gave him pause about continuing on with the organization. And it's a reel, so I mean it's a post, so there's multiple things going on here. So Sirianni, Patullo incorporated running designs without consulting Stoutland. After the season, he was demoted basically from run game coordinator and was just said, hey, you're going to coach the offensive line and offensive line only. And things were less harmonious this past season. Injuries to the right tackle, Lane Johnson, and others along the front played a big part in the ground game's regression, but there were other dynamics at play. With the offense stagnant, head coach Sirianni took on more of an active role over the latter part of the season, and then offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo began incorporating different run designs in an effort to kickstart the operation. Stoutland was not consulted about the changes to what he felt was an appropriate degree, as the league source said. No longer wanted the desire to be run game coordinator because he no longer fit the job description. Yada, yada, yada. I am at a loss for words. I don't know what else to say other than that this is a stupid decision by this coaching staff and this organization, and a slap in the face to Jeff Stoutland. And it's officially the end of an era. It is a sign of a new chapter in Philadelphia Eagles football, and I am not so sure it is for the better. There is no way that you, as a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, can look at this news and try to find a positive takeaway from the fact that Jeff Stoutland is no longer a Philadelphia Eagle. There is no good news. There is nothing positive about this news. For the better part of a decade, 13 years he's been a Philadelphia, 12 years to be exact. since he's been a coach, the best offensive line coach, arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest position coach we have in the NFL today, and one of the greatest of all time. Since he's been part of the Philadelphia Eagles, he has been a part of 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 Super Bowl titles, and the resume that he has speaks for itself in terms of what he did for the offensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's just pull up what Jeff Stoutland has done in his time with Philadelphia. Oh, my goodness. What would have been his 13th year as the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line coach and running game coordinator. He would have been the longest tenured Philadelphia Eagles member of the coaching staff. He helped produce 12 Pro Bowlers in 12 consecutive seasons for the Philadelphia Eagles. Has led players, 7 players to be exact, to 26 Pro Bowlers. Brandon Brooks, hell of a football player, from 18 to 20. Landon Dickerson from 23 to 25. Lane Johnson throughout his whole career has been coached under Jeff Stoutland. Cam Jurgens in 2025, just this past season, even though this was a reputation Pro Bowl. Jason Kelsey from 2015, 17, 20 to 24. Evan Mathis, another great Philadelphia Eagle, a guard, played for Jason Peters, again, great tackle in the NFL. I mean, not to mention the fact, not only did he coach guys like Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Jason Peters, Brandon Brooks. I mean, just the guys that we just saw there, Evan Mathis. He coached guys like Isaac Seumalo. He coached Tyler Steen to really good football. He got Mekhi Becton to play excellent football for us. He got Jordan Mailata, the 6th round pick, the 6th round Aussie, who did not know how to put on a pair of football pads. Got him to become one of the best tackles in the NFL. He got Fred Johnson after Lane Johnson got hurt to come in and play tackle for us and play quality football here. He had Jason Kelsey play center with Cam Jurgens, a center at guard. Then Jason Kelsey retires. He put Cam back at center, got Mekhi Becton at guard, and led the offensive line and coached the offensive line and gave the run game design for what was single-handedly the greatest rushing season, not only in franchise history, but the single greatest rushing season in NFL history. And just a year off of that, just because this past season, the injuries to the offensive line, the player execution was lacking, you look at Jeff Stoutland in the face. Your best coach that you have had outside of Vic Fangio. And even then, this is the best coach you have on the roster, because for the better part of 12 years, this offensive line has been the strength. It has been the heartbeat. It has been the pumping blood of the body. There is one thing you can guarantee about the Philadelphia Eagles year after year after year after year after year after year after year, and it's this offensive line being elite. After one subpar year, you slap him in the face, demote him from run game coordinator, and then you got your dingus of a head coach and offensive coordinator not consulting the fucking guy on the run game when literally the past decade, due to his tutelage with this offensive line, guys have had career years behind this Philadelphia Eagles running attack. LaShawn McCoy, Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift, Saquon Barkley, helped lead J.J. Garrett Blunt on our way to a Super Bowl. And after one fucking year, this organization, this coaching staff looks at Jeff Stoutland basically and says, hey, fuck you, bro. Excuse my mouth. I apologize. That's what you decide to do to Jeff Stoutland? The greatest offensive line coach, arguably, in NFL history? one of the greatest coaches to ever walk, to ever grace the NovaCare complex. This organization and this coaching staff, this is the year, ladies and gentlemen. 2026 is going to be the year that we look back on and we see the Super Bowl window closed. Because now Vic Fangio is going to be out the door next offseason. Jeff Stoutland is gone. Who the hell are you going to replace him with? An offensive coordinator who's coming to the building has not called a play in the NFL, has 2 years of coaching experience, was going to tell Jeff Stoutland what the fuck to do with the run game? Are you kidding me? Only Philadelphia. Only the Philadelphia Eagles can operate in such a capacity. Only them. Again, my God, I don't even know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. Wow. I'll tell you what, this is going to be a very, very interesting season. Woo! Oh my God. Jeez, I'm gonna go on a rant a little, maybe not a rant. I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is a gut punch to Philadelphia. I'm gonna talk to you guys about why this is such a bad day in Philadelphia, and why this new era, what this new era of football is going to probably look like for the next few years. But before we do that, let me introduce you to the show. This is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I'm your host, Asif Badi. And like you, I am a Birds fan, an annoyed Birds fan, a sad Birds fan who talks about the Birds, only the Birds, and nothing but the Philadelphia Eagles. So please do us a favor here. Help us grow this channel organically by shooting this video a thumbs up, commenting your thoughts in the comment section below, and subscribing to the channel. Also, check us out on audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a 5-star review, because in the end, it doesn't cost you a damn thing to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We appreciate your support on the opposite side of the camera and on the opposite side of the airwaves. I'm flabbergasted by the fact, if that report is true by Tim McManus, that Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo had such a pair of freaking balls on them to not consult with Jeff Stoutland on the run game, on how to improve it. Who in the hell do you think you are? And this wouldn't have been done if it weren't for the okay of the front office and the organization. Unless what they want is for Nick Sirianni to be left out the pasture and say, you know what? You want the control, buddy? This is all yours. Wow. Oh my God. I was already annoyed this week and saddened this week that the potential conversation about Vic Fangio was going to be had where he potentially could have retired this season. And the front brass, the office, convinced him to stay for one more year, because he's coaching brilliantly, by the way, Vic Fangio. And he constantly has to take a defensive roster that constantly goes through personnel changes, that constantly has to do these musical chair style signings in order to fulfill the roster spots. And every single time he's been part of this Eagles organization, we have had a top flight defense. We've been to the Super Bowl with him, and there's never been a question on the fact that this defense, along with the offensive line, have been the strength of this football team the entirety of my Eagles fandom. in the entirety of my tenure here hosting this show and over the past 5 years, because 2022, Vic Fangio was here as a consultant. 2024, obviously led the number one defense. And this past season, we will not blame the defense for what was the downfall of the Philadelphia Eagles. And for Jeff Stoutland, again, for the better part of 12 years, we've had a top 5 offensive line every single year. We've had a top flight running game almost every single year outside of last season. And the one thing you never questioned was whether this offensive line was going to perform outside of this year. And this is what Philadelphia does to great coaches, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I blame the front office. This is why I'm going to throw some blame onto Nick Sirianni, not only because of the post that you saw earlier in regards to that they weren't consulting the man on how to fix the run game, the arrogant bastard that I can't believe. How are you as Nick Sirianni and Kevin? Again, this is not to say that Sirianni's like a bad coach. I don't think he's a bad coach by any means. But the cojones to say we're not gonna speak to Jeff Stoutland about making changes in the run game. Do you realize just last year we had the single greatest rushing season for a football team in the NFL? That ain't because of Nick Sirianni. That ain't because of, Kellen Moore. That's Jeff Stoutland's run design. That's his offensive line. That was them executing at such a high level to the point where Saquon Barkley, every time he touched the ball, it was a house call. But no, let's not consult him. Let's not consult the guy that also brought a career year for DeAndre Swift when he was in the building. Let's not consult the guy that helped us win our first Super Bowl title in franchise history in 2017. Let's not talk about that guy. Let's not talk to the guy that helped bring career years for Miles Sanders. Let's not talk to the guy who helped bring on a career year and led LaShawn McCoy to be the greatest rusher in Philadelphia Eagles history. No, let's not talk to that guy about the run game. We never won a Super Bowl without Jeff Stoutland in the building. And we've had great coaches here. Juan Castillo, Andy Reid, Jim Johnson. We were never winning we haven't won a Super Bowl until that man was in the building. Lane Johnson hasn't been coached by anybody else. Now potentially his career might be done. And just to give a little bit of a recap on the man's career, by the way, we talked about it before, how many Pro Bowlers he led for the Philadelphia Eagles to have career years, how many Hall of Famers he's coached, right? Lane Johnson, first ballot Hall of Famer, he's coached. Jason Peters, probably going to be a Hall of Famer. He coached him. Jason Kelsey, one of the greatest centers of all time, coached him. Landon Dickerson, really good football player. If he continues on this path, will probably be a Hall of Famer. Brandon Brooks, an Eagles Hall of Famer. Jordan Mailata coached him up. Hell, when Lane Johnson got hurt, we felt good enough about the offensive line where Fred Johnson came in, and it fooled us to think that potentially this guy could start. Now you realize, I want you all to realize something about this news. With Jeff Stoutland out the building, there is now no offensive line pick that you can take and trust that it will pan out. We don't know that anymore. Jeff Stoutland, Stoutland University, has been such a pillar for the Philadelphia Eagles, they have officially taken him for granted. And this is where I blame the front office. This is where I blame the head coach. How fucking dare you take that man, Jeff Stoutland, for granted? Demote him and slap him in the face and scapegoat his ass for saying the reason the run game didn't work this year was because you were calling the run designs. So we're going to do things without you. Only in Philadelphia. Only this organization would allow something like this. Only this coaching staff could be this stupid to have something like this happen to this man. This is one of the greatest coaches to ever grace the NFL. This is one of the greatest coaches to grace the Novacare complex. And this is how we treat him. Mr. Stoutland, I know, I am not a big Philadelphia Eagles show. I'm a big Eagles fan. I am a proud Eagles fan because I love the football team. I love the Eagles. I doubt Mr. Stoutland will see this, but I will say this. There is no way. I believe the NFL is a coach's league. Yes, you need talent for sure, but you don't have great talent without great coaching. And Jeff Stoutland, Mr. Stoutland, I will refer to you as Mr. Stoutland. You are one of the greatest coaches the NFL has seen. You're one of the greatest coaches I have ever witnessed coach a football team. Year after year, I look at this football team when you, sir, Mr. Stoutland, have been a part of this organization. And the one thing that I always say, I have never worried about the offensive line. I just never am. Because I know he's in the building. I know you're in the building. And now that you have officially left, now that you officially will not be part of the Philadelphia Eagles' future in the next few years, not only does it sadden me, and it probably saddens a majority of the players there, but boy, oh boy, does this really put a damper on the upcoming season. It's officially the end of an era. The Super Bowl window, I don't believe, is fully closed because there's so much talent on this roster. But I'll tell you what I thought was kind of open, it's pretty damn, close to being closed now. Do you realize there is no coach on this roster at the moment outside of the defensive coaching staff that you trust? I don't know what Sean Mannion is going to do. I don't know who he's going to put as offensive line coach. I don't know who he's going to put at quarterbacks coach. I don't know what Nick Sirianni is going to do. This could potentially, they're setting it up where this could be his last year, where they could justify firing him. And maybe that's what the organization wants. Maybe they are trying to set up Nick Sirianni and this organization for failure. And just when I would think that they would do something sleazy and slimy like that, Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patula decide we're not going to fucking talk to the greatest offensive line coach probably in NFL history about addressing the run game that's been struggling. Make it make sense, because it doesn't to me. Any Eagle fan or any fan right now who is telling you that, hey, things come to an end, this is usually something that you have to work through, these things happen, not like this. No. It'd be one thing if the man said, hey, I want to call it a career. I've had a hell of a run. I'm done coaching football. That's one thing. But this was Jeff Stoutland's integrity and his career being insulted by the demotion from not being run game coordinator. The track record that he has immaculate. It's perfection on the type of coach that you would want coaching your football team. And basically all we did, that's what we did. We told Jeff Stoutland to screw himself. This 2025 season has been a very, very weird season. Not only does now Vic Fangio one out, Jeff Stoutland's now out. You realize we brought two players in this season in Sedarius Smith and Jair Alexander, who the second they came to Philadelphia decided they wanted to leave. I'll tell you this, and I'll leave it on this note. Sean Mannion and Nick Sirianni, you better be good. Like, you better be damn good. So much so that we look back on this and we say, wow, they were a year early on Stoutland, but they made the right call. Because if there's any indication of slowing down or any indication that this offensive line plays subpar and thus the offense doesn't look as good, heads are going to roll in the city of brotherly love. And this fan base shows no mercy. And while I try to count myself as somebody who could remain, relatively grounded as an Eagles fan, because I really don't like to insult other people so much, although this season, and you really can't say that, I've been doing a lot of that. This 2026 season is a very, very important year for the franchise. They basically took this 2025 season, punted on it, in the hopes that they could save a few bucks and retool and regroup for this upcoming season and for the next season. But now that Jeff Stoutland's not in the building, I don't know exactly how that's going to look for them. That was probably not something in their calculation. And the last thing that I will say is that this is apropos for the Eagles front office. It took a ridiculous search for offensive coordinator. It took like 2 weeks to find a guy who's never called plays, who's had 2 years of coaching experience in the NFL. And again, he might work out. I don't know. A lot of people speak highly of him, and I am going to be positive about the OC hire, but it doesn't escape me that the guy has never called a play in the NFL. Yes, he's played quarterback, but he doesn't. 2 years of coaching compared to Jeff Stoutland's 40-year career in the NFL outside of it. His 13-year track record in the NFL being as brilliant and as perfect as it is. Who in the hell is Sean Mannion compared to Jeff Stoutland? Only in Philadelphia do they insult great coaches and let great coaches walk out the building. They did it with Andy Reid. They did it with Doug Peterson, Frank Reich. I mean, it is a tough day. Tough day to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you got through this far, I appreciate your support here. Again, let me know what you think about this situation. We might be screwed for the 2026 season. Again, still too early to tell, but that's my gut feeling is telling me like this is not going to be a fun year for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to be a lot of change that's going to happen. It's going to be a very important year for the quarterback, for the head coach, for this offensive coordinator, and to see what we do in the upcoming draft, because we needed to get an offensive lineman, and now whoever we draft will not have the tutelage that he would have had over the past 12 years. So there's that. And it's a damn shame because him and Vic Fangio were the two coaches in Philadelphia that you could trust. Also, like the defensive coordination staff, like we know that, but like those were the guys that you looked at and you say, yeah, this team could remain afloat because they got those two guys in the building. And now by the end of next season, neither of them will be here. And Jeff Stoutland's not here right now. And it's a damn shame. One of the greatest coaches to ever grace the NFL, one of the greatest coaches to grace the NovaCare complex, one of the best position coaches in my lifetime, in anybody's lifetime, and has led this Philadelphia Eagles offensive line and this organization to 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 Super Bowl titles, a top rushing attack, the single greatest rushing season in NFL history, and 27 Pro Bowl seasons among 7 players, coached 3-4 Hall of Famers potentially in Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Jason Peters for damn sure, potentially Landon Dickerson, coach Jordan Mailata, who didn't know how to put on a pair of football pads as a 6th-round Australian pick into one of the best tackles in the NFL. One hell of a career, Jeff Stoutland. You're one hell of a coach. You're one of the greatest coaches of my lifetime. I don't know how many more accolades I could send your way, good sir. Other than that, we appreciate your time in Philadelphia. Philadelphia does indeed love you. And the greatness that you gave us, we cannot thank you enough for it. So on with the new era, and let's just see what it brings us, because today I'm going to wallow in my self-misery. So fly, Eagles, fly, go Birds, and congratulations, Jeff Stoutland, on one hell of a career in Philadelphia. And whatever it is that you decide to do, whether it's to hang them up or to coach elsewhere, I will speak on behalf of other Eagle fans. We all wish you, and I wish you, nothing but the utmost success, prosperity, and longevity in the rest of your illustrious career. Thank you, Jeff Stoutland, for the great service that you have given us as Philadelphia Eagle fans. And hopefully this brings on great things for you going forward.
Hey, thank you so much for watching the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. If you want to continue to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Riding the Bench Eagles Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time here at the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast.